What's up, people? It is a Saturday night. I am not doing anything right now, and we're about to get hit by a winter storm. So, my mind was spinning, and I thought, man, I haven't opened this up in a while. I haven't talked to y'all. Y'all haven't seen this setup before. Y'all don't even know where I'm at right now. Normally, I'm in my kitchen, which is right there, but y'all can't even tell that. I'm in the corner right now. I'm in a recliner. You're on my legs. It's crazy, right? We're making leaps and bounds in this life of ours. Look at this. We're at a lamp. What? Exactly. Moving on up. But all jokes aside, I want to talk about this thing that I was thinking about. In the pursuit of efficiency and simplification, I always I try to break down ideas and concepts, things that I'm pursuing or I want, greater depth of understanding in. I try to break them down into different acronyms, phrases, or just simple terminology because I have a terrible tendency to run on and talk and over explain and give too many words for simple thoughts. So, as a part of counteracting that, I create these kind of like little mental hotkeys, right? Depending on how familiar you are with the computers and whatnot, there's hotkeys, right? You can press a key in a certain way or a combination of keys, and it'll do something different than what the key originally says. And look, I'm doing it right now. I'm over explaining, but the hotkey that I think about quite consistently because I'm in, B2C sales. I do a lot of like very transformational style of selling, right? It's a lot more what needs to change internally for you to have these external results change. And the four things that I can always identify in somebody who is going to be successful, who's going to be a winner and not a loser, comes down to what I would call the 4D's, right? Earlier, it felt like three, reminding me of diners, drive-ins, and dives. I thought that would have been funnier if it was triple D, but it's quadruple D. Pause. But the 4D's, it comes down to discipline, decisiveness, delusion, and just dedication, right? Now, when it comes to, we'll start with discipline, right? The number one thing, the number one trait of anybody who gets anything good in life is that they are disciplined, right? Almost always there is discipline present in the most successful person that you know, right? And whenever I say discipline, I don't mean like they wake up every morning and they do a cold plunge and, they stand in front of their mirror and shout affirmations and stuff like that. No, that's not what I mean, right? What I mean is they are disciplined in the fact that they are on a certain path and they do not deviate from it, right? The concept of discipline gets applied really directly in a lot of my sales calls, doing this thing like identity shifting, right? You want to shift somebody's identity from where they currently are mentally to where they should be 6, 12, 18 months from now, whatever, so that they can start to have a transformational experience happen and start to see things from the perspective of the person who has been disciplined, who has been bold, who has been confident, who has been these things, that is still them, just in the future possessing different traits, right, than what they commonly possess now. And the thing with discipline is it gets labeled as so many different things, right? I feel like people, they look at discipline in a different lens than what it should be, right? The people who win in life are the ones who know what it takes to win and they just don't stop doing what it takes to win. That's it, right? Now, discipline and dedication, they almost seem like the same thing, right? But in the context of what I'm thinking about, the difference in those and the reasons why they're more siblings than they are the same being is whenever I think of dedication, I think of somebody who is dedicated to something despite things, right? With discipline, I don't think that it is necessarily, it is hard to be disciplined, but I never really see people oppose discipline, right? Now, what I mean by that is if you're disciplined, and let's say that you wake up every day at 5 a.m. to go to the gym because you want to do that, you want to start your day the right way, and then you want to carry that energy into like the first block of work that you do in the day, right? And that is your discipline. That is the foundation of your discipline, right? I I doubt there's anybody out there who isn't just a miserable sack of crap that is going to look at that discipline and like doubt you for it or say that you're stupid for it or tell you not to do it, right? But the thing with dedication is people will tell you not to be dedicated, right? People will try to differentiate what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing based on what they think, what the world thinks, what pop culture tells them, what social media tells them, whatever. People will try to shift where you place your dedication out of misunderstanding, right? And then when we start to weigh the difference between a winner and a loser, the winner is the person who will be solely dedicated in the face of the the opposition, right? And ultimately, the loser is the person who will allow their dedication to be shifted, right? Because no matter what, somebody is going to come and try to take away the root of why you're dedicated to something, right? Whatever makes you dedicated to pursuing something, somebody undoubtedly will come and tell you that it's stupid. They'll come and tell you that your goals are dumb, that this thing is wrong. You shouldn't invest so much time into that. It could be your girlfriend, right? Oh, you should hang out with me more. You shouldn't be doing that. Blah blah blah. Your parents could want you to be less dedicated to your goals. Like there's so many people that will come and try to remove dedication from the equation for you. And this is a core principle for winning and being a winner, right? And not just in a sport, but in the things that actually matter, right? I'd guarantee that none of y'all watching this are professional athletes, right? It doesn't matter if you're winning an exhibition basketball game, if you're playing pickup in the park with the bros. But whenever you think about winners and losers in life as an adult, when it really matters, you start to think about the person who they say, do I want to be like the person who's two steps ahead of me in my current trajectory? And that person who says that they don't want to be like that person, you're losing, right? I heard this last night. I was at a dinner. This guy, he's a software engineer at Amazon, I think. And he was talking, and he was talking about his goals, right? And he started to crack a little bit and reveal that he was a little dissatisfied with his 9 to 5 or whatever. He makes a lot of money. He's important. He works at the FANG company. Like, he's somebody who to the corporate world has made it, but to him, he said, "Dude, I've seen my boss. He works longer than me. He doesn't see his family. He makes more money than me, but he doesn't have a better life, right? He's on track to lose because he's still dedicated to following that path, right? He's not dedicated to following his own path that's different than that, right? He's solely dedicated to progressing in something that everybody else told him he should progress in. So his dedication's wrong, right? And that needs to shift. And then this plays into delusion, right? And just so I can say this out loud and not forget it, we're going to say delusion and decisiveness. If I didn't say decisiveness, that's what I meant earlier. But delusion is a strange concept because you hear delusion and you think it's a bad thing, right? You think, like I think of the girls that I've talked to, right? Sometimes I think they're delusional. Sometimes they might think that I'm delusional. Some circumstances I have been, right? I'm recently medicated. Okay, I'm changing. To the 3 or 4 of y'all that might be watching this, keeping up with me, I miss you guys. But that's a joke. But with delusion, right? I feel like you have to be a little bit delusional to break the mold and be something that nobody else thinks that they can be, right? If you were to tell me that your definition of being a winner was similar to anybody else's definition of being a winner, I would very quickly start to ask you questions and I would try to locate your delusion in that, right? We'll say sales, right? I know a guy who in December he made $54,000 in a role where, it's not necessarily common to make $54,000 in a month, right? And I would tell you that it took delusion for him to get to that point, right? Because I met this guy when he was making 10, 15 grand a month, which on a scale of 54,000 to 10,000, 54,000 is obviously a lot more, right? And he had consistently, he ramped into 30, 40, then he hit 50, right? He slowly built his way up to that, and he built a consistent bridge to that number. He was delusional enough to believe that one day he could do that, and that's why he got there. I guarantee it. I won't say his name because there's no point in doing it, but that's one of the bros, man. I know him personally, and I know the way that he thinks about life. I've talked to him about this stuff. I've been on meetings with this guy. Like, I know him personally, right? There's delusion in that. There's delusion in anybody out there who says that I can be this thing that nobody else really believes that they can be, right? And delusion is that thing that'll put you over the edge and will carry you further in those hard times, right? When discipline and dedication start to be hard, delusion comes in and it picks it right up, right? Even me, right? Like, I'm having one of the best months of my life financially right now. And a big portion of it was because I went for this thing that everybody told me I would not get. I would not be able to have all of these people. They try to limit and say, no, you won't get this and you won't get that. Delusion, right? And I went and I got it, and it made me, a couple 5 figures, right? So it's like the delusion that made me pursue this thing is the delusion that ultimately delivered me the thing. Because if I would have just listened to everybody else, I wouldn't have even started trying to get it. But here I am with it. So it's like, if I was just thinking the same way that everybody else does, I wouldn't have what I want, right? And that's not to say that I'm the biggest winner in the world, but I'd like to think that I'm not losing at the game right now, right? And delusion defeats all of those negative things that try to take away your discipline, your dedication. And the thing that I think like ties all of this together and really makes it tick is decisiveness, right? Now, when I say decisiveness, I mean decisiveness in the fact that you will pick your thing and you will be 1,000, 100 billion% certain that that is your thing, right? For me, online business, right? Then let's get a little bit more decisive. It's sales. Let's get a little bit more decisive. Being a closer, right? That's what I like. That's where I found I could build the most leverage. That's where I can take 2, 3 calls in a day, go make $1,300, and then go hang out with my friends, right? Because I was decisive in picking this skill set, this vehicle to get me where I wanted to go. And that decisiveness is paying me dividends, huge, right? Because in December, I decided that I should be decisive and I should pick one thing and I should focus on that one thing, right? And I shouldn't settle for anything else. I shouldn't spread myself too thin. I should be decisive and I should pick, okay, I'm going to do that right there. Okay, I'm going to do that right there. And that's going to be it. A trait of some of the most successful people in the world comes down to decisiveness, right? And I think that the funniest way that this shows up is pretty contrary to what I think people believed probably like 10, 15 years ago, right? I hate this shit. I hate the fucking hood economics. And like, I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but you know what I'm talking about, man. The Forex traders, all that bullshit. Whenever people figured out how to, market online and scam susceptible audiences, everybody was saying like, oh, you need 7 streams of income to get rich. Yeah, the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. That's how they got rich. Who did that study? Anybody in the fucking world could not tell you that. But everybody says that shit. Everybody says, oh yeah, the average millionaire, they have 7 streams of income. They don't at all. Like, That's retarded. That's one of the stupidest fucking things I've ever heard in my life. And it pisses me off to even have to verbalize that because there's probably somebody on the other side of this camera right now that's like, are you serious? Are you telling me that if I go buy 50 rental properties and also become a day trader and learn sales and marketing and Airbnb and pressure washing and how to run a Facebook ads agency, I won't be rich by the end of the year? No, you won't. It's ridiculous. It's such a dumb thing to think. And this is where decisiveness trumps that, right? Let's look at Jeff Bezos. What is the majority of his net worth? Amazon. Let's look at Mark Zuckerberg. What's the majority of his net worth? Facebook, Meta, like Elon Musk. What's the majority of his net worth? Tesla, right? These massive figures that you see were decisive that that company that they are building is going to be the thing that gets them where they want to go, right? Obviously, they've diversified their income streams, but it's because they can afford to hire experts that do those things, right? And those experts are decisive that they are going to be the best at doing that thing, and they've become a consultant for these ultra high net worth individuals. And through their consulting, they're displaying decisiveness, saying that I'm the best at this one thing. And they probably get hired by every rich person in that industry, in that world, to manage their wealth in that way. And it's just the truth, right? And nobody is going to tell you that. Nobody's going to tell you that that's how money works, but that's how money works. You get really good at one thing and then you just pay other people to be good at the other things because that person is efficient, they're decisive, and they know that if they just keep the root of the tree alive, the branches will flourish. But the second that you say, you know what, I'm going to start experimenting and see if I can add more roots to my tree, your tree's going to fucking die. You're going to run out, right? And you're going to go from being decisive and a winner to being in disarray and a loser because you've tried to spread yourself too thin, right? You try to do too many things at once. And that's the trick of all of this, right? Is to do one thing and be good at it. And then eventually it'll all work out. That is what makes a winner and differentiates them from a loser. A loser, 9 times out of 10, is somebody who's doing a lot of things, but they're not really doing it, right? I like to use this analogy on sales calls. It's the difference between chasing a rabbit and having a firefighter pull you out of a burning building, right? When it comes to chasing rabbits, anybody can go outside and chase a rabbit, right? You can go outside and see 100 rabbits and you can say, I'm going to pick this one rabbit, I'm going to run and I'm going to catch it, right? All the other rabbits run away. 99 rabbits gone. Now you have this one rabbit that you're focused on. You're going to chase it and chase it and chase it until you get tired. And eventually it's pretty easy to justify quitting chasing a rabbit. So you're tired, you're angry, you're pissed off. Oh, I didn't catch the rabbit. And it's easy to tell yourself that it's okay that you didn't catch it because you know what? There's another 99 that I might be able to catch tomorrow, right? Oh, well, it's a rabbit anyway. Like, I've never seen somebody catch a rabbit. Like, why would I be the one to catch that rabbit, right? And then you can justify it and you can slowly, like, lull yourself to sleep and just kill your dreams because you decided to chase rabbits, right? You didn't dedicate yourself to finding a means to just catching it, right? And pursuing it, right? And hunting down that rabbit like your goals. But let's flip it, right? Let's look at having a firefighter save you from a burning building, right? Let's take the firefighter out of it. Let's say that you're in a burning building, right? You're on the first floor of a burning building. You know that the second floor above you is engulfed in flames right now. What are you going to do? You're going to run out of the front door, right? Okay, front door is blocked. What are you going to do? You're going to find a window. Okay, windows, they're all messed up. You can't get out of them. What are you going to do? You're going to try to run through the wall until you can get out of that building, right? Because the only thing that is worse than not making it out of the building is nothing. There's nothing worse than not getting out of the building. It's death. It's certain death. If you don't get out of the building, the roof collapses, the second story comes down, and then you're crushed in the first floor, and then you burn to death and are also suffocated and crushed, right? You're super dead, right? And that's the way that you should treat your goals, because ultimately that is the reality that most people are in. Most people are losers, and that's their burning building. They're losing. They don't like the life they live. They don't like where they're at. They don't like their friends. They don't like their relationships. They don't like their house. They don't like their car. They don't like their job. They don't like the way that they have to fucking wake up in the morning at 4 a.m. and go sit down at their desk by 7, and then they have to stay there until 5 because for some fucking reason every job is 7 to 5 now, and people are just okay with that. That is your burning building, right? And the only way to get out of that burning building is to be dedicated, is to be decisive, is to be delusional, is to be disciplined. Not in that order. Put it in whatever fucking order you want. Enable yourself to be those things. Pick a goal, focus on it, pursue it. Come back to this video, comment, and tell me, Noah, I did it. Here I am, right? I'm not in the loser category anymore. Now I'm in the winning category. And this isn't to say that anybody who lives life a certain way is bad, but this is to say that the person who is okay with not winning to their standard is a loser. Objectively, if you know that what you're doing doesn't feel like you're winning, what else are you doing? Right? It's not gray, it's black and white. There's winning and losing. That's it. That's, I don't know, I'll end with that. That's probably the biggest thing that nobody will tell you because it's scary and it's uncomfortable and it makes you feel bad. But there's winners and losers, and that's it, right? There's people with houses and there's people that sleep in the streets. That's it, right? When you go to war, there's people that live, there's people that die, and that's it, right? When it comes to going to the gym, there's people that are in shape, there's people that are out of shape. That's it. It's black and white. There's no fucking middle ground where, oh, well, you know, Stacy, she's really trying and, you know, eventually she'll get there. No, Stacy's fat, right? Which makes her out of shape, right? And then if Stacy enacts those 4 things that will push her to the winning category, oh, Stacy is in great shape now. That's amazing to see that she's not fat anymore. Now she's fit, right? And that's the reality. That's the reality of all of this stuff. There's black and there's white. You need to shift your identity as quickly as you can to the winning side of that equation. It's black and it's white. Get to the other side where the winners are. Get out of the losing category. Be disciplined. Be dedicated. Be delusional. Be decisive. And you'll win. I got some energy towards the end of this video, so I'm going to go, I guess, play some video games or something and chill because I've earned that. And I hope that this helps you. But, guys, I love you. Jesus loves you. I'll probably try to make more videos again because I got a couple more things to say these days. But, yeah, go out there and be a winner.